tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to Jesus. But you see, the Pharisees and the scribes began to complain. This man welcomes sinners and even eats with them. Lesson 1 from our gospel today is, yes, Jesus said, I have come for sinners, not the righteous. So Jesus does welcome sinners. Jesus welcomes you. You're a sinner. Jesus welcomes me, a sinner. So, it's really wrong for us to distance ourselves from Jesus because we feel so unworthy. Like, oh, God couldn't really love me. I'm so unfaithful. Or, I'll never get to heaven. I'm so bad. I heard Jesus saying to us, what are you saying? Don't you believe me? Don't you believe I came for you? Don't you believe I saved you? Listen to me in the gospel. There will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 people who have no need of repentance. Is Jesus saying that he prefers sinfulness to righteousness? No. What Jesus is saying is there's more joy in heaven over one person who acknowledges his sins and repents than over 99 righteous people who don't think they need to repent. So you see, if we're doing quite well on our own, we don't need Jesus. But if we acknowledge our need for Jesus, then Jesus welcomes us and actually rejoices over us. It's a wonderful lesson. Our second lesson is equally important. To convince us that God loves us personally. Oh, this is a big one. This is a big one. All through the Old Testament, the Jewish people were in such awe of their God that they would not even use a word for his name. Their God was this great power up above the heavens, who showed his power through the forces of nature. Well, our God we should hold in awe too, because our God is totally awesome. But he is most awesome not because of his creation, not because of this wonderful, vast, beautiful universe that leaves us breathless. God is most different most awesome because he loves each one of us personally. Now, we usually think of God as sort of being in charge of the big picture, He loves everybody as part of his creation. And that's all very true. But Jesus told us there's much more to it than that. Jesus said, God knows each one of you by name. God knows even the number of hairs on your head. Jesus tells us God looks upon us as part of his family. Jesus tells us that we can call God our Father, Abba, which means Daddy. The term that a young child would use to address his father whom he loves and trusts completely. So, there's another way of looking at this too. There are depths and different dimensions to love. We can love people in general and wish them well. And we do that, don't we? We wish everybody well. That's good. But that is very different than being in love with a person. See the difference? On a different dimension. Jesus is saying to us today, God is in love with you. He is in love with me. Wow. He is in love with us. What a statement to make. That's the lesson. That's the lesson of today's gospel. And he tells us that in the gospel. He says, this guy leaves the herd of sheep in the desert and goes off in search of the one. And he finds that one. He rejoices. And Jesus said, I tell you, there's more joy in heaven over one person who acknowledges their sin and repents than over 99 righteous people who don't think they need to repent. My friends, let our prayer be, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. And let's start to treat ourselves as known and loved by God. And let's treat each other that way.